Hello everyone and welcome back to Whispers of Turkish Stars, your cozy corner for all the heart-fluttering whispers, late-night rumors, and the moments between the headlines that keep us dreaming. Settle in, because tonight we are stepping straight into a rumor that arrived like a hush and spread like a storm, a private, unexpected, and oh so mysterious reunion between Gökberk Demirci and Özge Yağız. You heard that right. The duo whose chemistry lit up sets and screens, whose journey together and apart has kept fans glued to every clue, may have met away from the flashes, in a place only the trusted could find, leaving the rest of us piecing together shadows and meaning. If you love them, if you followed them from the early days to the glowing present, then you already know how much weight a single sighting, a single glance, a single smile can carry in a story like this. Before we dive in, if you're new here, take one tiny second to subscribe to Whispers of Turkish Stars and turn on that bell. It's a little click for you, but for us it's the heartbeat that keeps this community growing, the pulse that lets us bring you closer to the stories you can feel under your skin. Now, let's slip behind the curtain and trace the outlines of this alleged meeting that no one saw coming and everyone secretly wished for. For weeks, signs were scattered like breadcrumbs. Soft hints on social media, unusual overlaps in schedules, a handful of vague captions that seem to speak in code to those who know how to listen. The buzz grew louder, but nothing crossed that fragile line from rumor to proof. Until whispers from sources close to production, sources who have never dwelt in the realm of fantasy, quietly suggested that Gökberk Demirci and Özge Yağız sat down together, in a discreet location chosen precisely because it promised fewer glances and fewer questions. No fanfare, no red carpet, just time and space, privacy and intention. What was said inside those walls? What sparked the decision to meet? The questions burn, but the answers sit protected, at least for now, by the same silence that made this moment possible in the first place. Let's talk possibilities, because this is where the heart starts beating a little faster. The first and loudest theory feels as thrilling as the first episode of a new season, a professional reunion. Imagine a new project that brings them back to the same frame, a script that trusts their timing, their ability to catch each other's breath in a scene and send it back as fireworks. Their resumes have only grown stronger, their appeal has leapt borders. The global audience that fell for their connection hasn't forgotten, and the industry knows it. A romantic drama that climbs slowly from glances to confessions. A tempestuous series where every twist drags the past into the present. Or something daring and fresh, a psychological drama, a historical epic, even a restrained indie film that whispers instead of shouts. The thought alone is enough to set timelines ablaze, because when two stars like these share a frame, the lens remembers. But we can't ignore the other possibility, the one that slips in through the side door and lingers in the hallways of the heart, a personal meeting. Let's be honest. There were days when their smiles felt like secret letters written in a language only two souls could read. There were moments when their shared history seemed to hum beneath every step. Relationships like that don't simply fade with time, sometimes they change key, shift tone, find a different rhythm. Maybe this was a catch-up over coffee that went long because memories do that. Maybe it was a gentle check-in, two people asking each other how life has been and really wanting to know. Maybe it was about closure, or about tending to a bond that never had to be broken to be respected. Respect, let that be the word that sits at the center of this. Because whatever we don't know, what we can feel is the careful dignity with which both have navigated the gaze of the public. The setting, according to those careful whispers, was simple and warm, chosen for privacy, not prestige. Picture soft light, an easy table, the comforting greeting of a place that doesn't ask questions. A neutral space, where voices can lower without fear of missing the point. Blurry photos? A few shapes circulated, a pair of lines that might be them, might be illusions. You know how the internet works when hope joins hands with zoom buttons. But none of those images have found a home in confirmed territory. What has a stronger pulse is the pattern of clues, a sudden quiet in the hours that mattered, the kind of online silence that reads like a held breath. And then, the tiniest gestures. The kind fans notice even when no one else does. A like that arrived at an unexpected hour. A caption that echoed a phrase the other once used. Enough to make you listen closer, not enough to make you swear you heard it. And now look at the fandom. The fandom never sleeps when the heart is on the line. Feeds began to swirl with theories. Threads grew tangled with hope, each comment a stitch pulling a story into shape. Some saw the horizon of a new on-screen reunion. Promotions, premieres, a soundtrack that sends shivers down your neck. Others whispered of a small, private reconnection, no cameras invited. Still others tried to hold the line between joy and caution, knowing that sometimes the sweetest moments are the ones we're never meant to see. But the gravitational pull of these two names together is undeniable. The way their histories overlap in the minds of those who watched them grow, fall, rise, and repeat that never stopped feeling real. Official statements? None yet. And that might be the quietest clue of all. In a world that rewards the loudest confession, there's a rare strength in staying still, in giving a delicate moment the shelter it needs. Silence doesn't always mean distance. Sometimes, silence is care. It's strategy. It's two professionals and two people deciding that the world can wait a little longer, that haste is the least interesting angle. Let's play the what-if game for just a moment. What if this meeting was the first page of a new professional chapter? What kind of roles would let them breathe differently, stretch their wings in ways they haven't tried yet? A slow-burn romance that refuses shortcuts, where every milestone feels earned. A drama that carries its own thunder, where choices collide and nothing arrives without consequence. A modern love story threaded through ambition, belonging, and the quiet courage of starting again. Think about the audience response worldwide. Think about the streaming platforms that never miss an electrical storm when they see one. The anticipation alone could power a city. Now, what if the meeting was personal, woven with more feeling than plan? What does that tell us? It tells us that life is not a straight line, that two people who shared something luminous can decide to honor it openly or privately, that affection can endure without being a headline. It would suggest a shared maturity, the kind that can seat two people at a table without asking them to rewrite the past or promise the future. Maybe it was simply two artists, two human beings, reaching across the distance to say, "I see you. How are you really?" Sometimes that's enough to change the air. As we scan their recent public presence, it's impossible not to notice how fans have turned into detectives. A photo background that matches a known location. A playlist update that legions of followers read like a coded diary. A wardrobe choice that mirrors an old shoot. People are circling dates on calendars, cross-referencing travel plans, comparing timestamps. And yet, amidst the frenzy, there is a tender undercurrent, a collective wish not to break the spell. Because this kind of mystery asks us to be gentle, to let the story reveal itself at its own pace, to remember that behind the images are hearts that deserve room to breathe. So where are we now? We stand in that electric in-between where everything is possible and nothing is fixed. A reunion reportedly happened. The reasons remain tucked away. The speculation is symphonic and the stakes feel personal to anyone who ever invested their feelings in this pair. Professional, personal, or that unnameable place where both hum together, any path would make sense if you know their story. And maybe that's why this moment has captured so many of us. Because it holds the promise of renewal without insisting on definition. Because sometimes the most powerful stories are the ones we're still writing sentence by sentence. Here at Whispers of Turkish Stars, we're watching this with the care it deserves. We're listening for what's said and what's left unsaid, for the angles that honor truth without prying, for the balance between excitement and respect. If and when something official emerges, you'll hear it here with all the context and all the warmth you expect from us. Until then, we hold this together, this delicate thread woven between memory and possibility. Tell me, what do you feel in your bones? If you could choose the project that brings them back side by side, what story would you write for them? Would you go for a sweeping romance that tests time and distance? Or a grounded, modern tale that risks vulnerability in every episode? And if this was simply two hearts checking in, does that comfort you? Does it make you hopeful? Do you think they found closure, or did they find a beginning disguised as a quiet conversation? Whatever the truth, one thing is certain, the impact is everywhere. Fans are energized. Conversations are alive. New viewers are stumbling into old clips and discovering why the connection felt so rare in the first place. Their names together still sound like a chord you recognize instantly, the kind that makes you look up, that makes you pause, that makes you remember your own favorite scenes and the way they tucked themselves into your days. We'll keep following the echoes and waiting for the official word, honoring the boundary between love and spectacle. If you've enjoyed sinking into this mystery with us tonight, show your love by subscribing to Whispers of Turkish Stars and tapping that bell so you never miss the next twist, the next reveal, the next whisper that turns into a roar. Share this video with friends who have felt the pull of this pair since the beginning, and leave your thoughts below, your theories, your hopes, your softest wishes for their happiness. Until our next rendezvous, keep your heart open and your eyes kind. Whether this becomes the comeback the cameras dream of or remains a tender moment folded away from the spotlight, let's root for grace, for success, for two artists who know how to turn breath into performance and performance into memory. This story is still unfolding, one quiet step at a time, and we'll be right here to walk it with you, word by word, scene by scene, whisper by whisper, at Whispers of Turkish Stars.